My name is MaKensie Dodd. I'm here in Richmond, Virginia. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a part of the LGBT community, and I myself struggle a lot with depression, and I have a family member who struggles with addiction and some other mental health challenges that are undiagnosed. My journey started towards the end of my college career, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I struggled a lot coming to terms with my sexuality, figuring out how to handle that and accept that. I think being on a diverse campus at VCU, the Rams, really helped me out. I found a good community of people. The city just offers so much culture and support in my experience, which I found helpful. Coming to terms with that and the having to deal with that, but also just try to assimilate into adult life with my degree and figure out what the heck I was going to do. And it was a lot. I mean, it's a lot transitioning from college to adult life. So that was really tough for me. At the time, through a networking event, I had met Amanda Long, who was the director of YouthMOVE Virginia. She was awesome. I saw her networking. We grabbed coffee. She asked me if I wanted to volunteer and be a part of the youth advisory board. I definitely wanted to expand my volunteer opportunities at the time. And mental health was something that I definitely knew about and should have been paying more attention to. But at that time when I met her, it definitely wasn't on my radar when it definitely should have been. At that time, I had tried a few therapists, but it just wasn't a good fit. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, if it's this hard to find a therapist, maybe I'm fine. But that's something I would definitely say to anybody who's searching. Sometimes it does take you have to interview the therapist, really. I mean, are they a good fit for you? Are their personality a good fit for you? It took me 5 or 6 times to finally find someone that worked for me, and I love her to death. When I was searching for a therapist, there were a few who actually told me that they did not believe with my lifestyle dating women and that I wouldn't be a good fit. And I'm not gonna lie, that halted my therapy search for a little bit, because I'm like, that was weird for me. And I got that response twice. So I feel like that's definitely discriminatory. Like, I feel like if you have those types of views in the mental health profession, you should not be a therapist, in my opinion. And it was the way they phrased it primarily. Like, it wasn't even that, oh, well, I focus more on marriage or et cetera. It was literally, I do not agree with your lifestyle. This is not something that, so it was very invalidating, and very much like I refuse to help you or even point you in the right direction. So that's why I define that as discriminatory. Oh wait, back to meeting Amanda. Yeah, so I met Amanda and she got me involved with YouthMOVE, and I got to meet an amazing support group of NAMI people. And they were pivotal for me because in my mind, I guess I really struggled with taking antidepressants because I wanted to be strong. I was used to being kind of the strong one in my friend group and capable and career savvy and all these things. I was so afraid that if I was vulnerable and admitted that I did have these challenges, it would ruin this image that I wanted so hard for myself. And meeting my NAMI family with YouthMOVE really opened my eyes to how that stigma, I mean, I was falling right into that stigma that we all have. I mean, and society has. So being able to break through that and finally accept that I needed help with antidepressants, it was amazing. So I know I'm probably saying this story like, oh, it was great. I finally found these people and they helped open my eyes and I got started and happily ever after. And that's not the case, because I think I probably realized, oh, if I find the right therapist and now I have the medications to help me out and I've got my support groups and family support and friend support and all these different support groups, I'm good, happily ever after. But it's not linear at all. And I know we've probably all heard this. I mean, there's been times where I'm like good for a couple of months and then I crash and then I feel guilty about crashing. And it's definitely something you have to work on daily, if not all the time. I really thought it would be kind of like a test or something, or a certification. I'd study for it, do really well, and then once I passed, I was done and it was great. but that's not the case, and that's okay. That's completely okay. I definitely love that I found resources and people that I can relate to that help me keep me on track so that I can be a better friend, a better partner, a better family member. And that's one big thing that NAMI has helped me out with. When my family member a couple of years ago, we discovered he was struggling with addiction, and that became a huge challenge for us. And that brought for me like a whole multitude of other challenges, how I can be supportive and understand this disease, because before I hadn't understood too much about it and how truly it is a disease. I remember calling one of my support friends in the NAMI almost in tears, freaking out, like, I don't know, like, I know some of the mental health nonprofits, but what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what? And I think that's the best thing about knowing people in nonprofits is you talk to one person, they're like, oh, well, have you heard of this nonprofit? And have you heard of this nonprofit? Like, I love how like well connected everything is. So they immediately got me hooked up to some good resources, and they placed him in a good rehab center. And I mean, it was so great to be able to call people that knew immediately where they could point me, at least get me started in some resources. I've definitely been lucky in the fact that if I'm having just a really bad day for whatever reason, and I communicate this with my work, I've been lucky in that the jobs I have, they've been very supportive. They either, even with when I was dealing with a bunch of family stuff with my family member with addiction, having to go, this was up north in Nova, so there were times where having to support my mom through that and my sibling, etc., I'd have to just kind of leave work abruptly, or maybe I was out of PTO. I was lucky in that they were very supportive. They wouldn't count another PTO day, or they would just say, all right, well, if you can you get this project done this weekend instead? So I've been very lucky in that aspect. I'm still a part of the Youth Advisory Board. Slowly, I'm kind of like slipping out a little bit as I've been focusing a lot more on my career, getting a little busy there. So I'm kind of fading out a little bit, but I really, before I leave, want to guide some of the younger ones and make sure they're transitioning to the board as well, and they know, how to tell their story and help other people. And that's something that I definitely love doing, is I love sharing my experience with people, hoping that they can realize that, whatever mental health challenges you have in your journey doesn't make you less capable of a partner, less capable of an employee. I mean, as long as you just keep at it as much as you can and just never give up and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I mean, there's some days where I feel like I'm making no progress at all, but I'm like, well, if anything, I can just keep putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and then I promise it gets better. My last thought is for people who aren't struggling, but maybe have a family member, a friend, a partner, etc., who is struggling. I would say the best thing you can do is, well, just be there. Like, sometimes you don't have to even talk. Just having that person there can help out a lot. But being able to figure out what your loved ones, I talk about love language. I just read the book on love languages. This is probably why this is my final thought. But trying to figure out each person, they like to be helped in a certain way, or that validation comes from different things, whether it's words of affirmation or physical touch or just presence. And I would really say, just try to dive into what your loved ones' love language is. Like, what is their language and how do they best seek validation and support? And try to learn that and keep that in mind moving forward so that you can, support them the best that they themselves need to be supported.